Hello everyone, this is Ryan from the ProfitTrailer team. Most of you may know me as RF Radio on the official ProfitTrailer support server on Discord. This video is all about the Bollinger Band buying strategies, namely the low BB and high BB strategies. I'm going to cover these both in this video because they are quite similar, even though their functions have a couple of keen differences to them. So this graphic we have on my screen here is a representation of a Bollinger Band. Now, if you don't understand what a Bollinger Band is, I highly suggest that you pause the video and go over to investopedia.com and take a look at, or just search for the term Bollinger Band and take a look at the articles they have there on it. That'll give you a really good overview of how this indicator is created, how it functions, and what all the values mean. So once you have a good understanding of that, you can come over here and we'll look at how the band is constructed. This lower red line here, this is the lower Bollinger Band limit. In ProfitTrailer, we refer to this as the low BB. The green line up here on the top of it is the upper Bollinger Band limit, also known as the high BB. And this gray line in the middle, this is the simple moving average, from which both the high BB and low BB lines are derived by 2 standard deviations each. So now that we know how this is constructed, let's take a look at our pairs file. Under the all buy strategy for low BB, you just type as you see here, it says low BB. For high BB, it would just be typed high BB, just like that. We're going to start with the low BB strategy. All buy value, this is actually a percentage. This is not a percentage of the price, however. So this all buy value I have is 20. So on this graphic here, we see, if we were to reference the low BB line, which is what the strategy does, by the way, since we're using low BB, we take the low BB line and look at a point that's about 20% of the Bollinger Band width above that low BB line. And if the price falls in that range, that's where the bot is going to look to buy at or below. So in the case of low BB, buy value is going to be the point at which it sets its threshold to begin looking to buy, and it's going to track down from there. This case, 20%, as I said, it's going to look at a point 20% of the Bollinger Band width. That's the total width between low BB and the high BB line. 20% of that and below, it's going to look to buy. So if you set a negative value here, I set negative 20. Then that's going to go look at the low BB line, look at a point that's 20% of the Bollinger Band width below the low BB line, and set that for its minimum or for its maximum threshold in price to buy. It's going to look at that line and below that to try and buy. So that really takes it even further down. In the case of low BB, once it's satisfied its buy value and price is dropping below that, then it's going to factor in your trailing buy. Now, if you're not familiar with trailing buy, please go see the video on trailing on the Team ProfitTrailer YouTube channel. So if we look at the high BB now, let's just type it in here, high BB, right? And we use the same buy value as we did in low. The difference is this is going to reference your high BB line. In the case of a positive value, if you put all buy value equals 20, it's going to take the high BB line and it's going to look at a point 20% of the bandwidth below the high BB line, and that's going to be your minimum threshold for buying. So it's going to look to buy at or above that buy value. That's exactly the opposite of low BB. So low BB takes your buy value and looks to buy at or below it. High BB looks to buy at or above it. Now you also may have noticed these 3 values on each sides here for low BB and high BB. 0 for your all buy value references 0%. That means on the case of low BB that you're going to be buying on the low BB line. In the case of the high BB strategy, it'd be buying on the high BB line. So if you use the buy value of 100 for your low BB, it would be buying on the high BB line. And if you're using the high BB strategy, if you use a buy value of 100, you'd be buying on the low BB line. So the values are exactly opposite. And there's only one point at which they're common, and that's here on the SMA. If you set a buy value of 50 for either the high BB or low BB, it's going to reference that as its point from which to calculate where to buy. So in the case of high BB, if we were to set a negative value here, like we were talking earlier, the positive value, it sets it below the high BB line. If we set a negative value, it's going to look to buy above the high BB line. So a good rule of thumb when thinking about the high BB and low BB strategies is if you're using a positive buy value, it's going to look to buy inside the Bollinger Band. And if you're using a negative value, it's going to look to buy outside the Bollinger Band. One note here on trailing. High BB trailing does not function. So if you're going to use high BB, make sure you comment out that line. Or just set it to 0. Either one. High BB does not have trailing buy or trailing profit. So you can't use trailing at all for this strategy. So now we understand how that works in pairs. Let's look at DCA. DCA, there is only one buying strategy for the Bollinger Bands, and that is low BB. High BB does not function in DCA. So the low BB strategy and the buy value function exactly the same as they do in pairs, but they have one extra step to them, this buy trigger. Buy trigger needs to be satisfied before the low BB begins. Okay, so what that means is your buy trigger, I set a negative number here, -5. This means the coin price has to drop 5% from its previous average price at which it was bought at before it even considers using the low BB strategy to buy more of that coin for your dollar cost averaging. So it's going to first satisfy, okay, I'm 5% below my coin's previous average. Now I can see, is the price, in the case of this buy value being 10, is the price within 10% above the low BB line or lower than that? If so, it will buy. Of course, factoring in trailing buy. So now we understand how pairs and DCA files work. Let's go ahead and take a look at how these look on a real chart. So what I have here is the Zencash price chart as priced in Bitcoin on the Bittrex exchange. And what I aim to do with these in order to set them up and backtest them, because that's exactly what I'm doing here, I'm going to be backtesting my strategy. So I look at my indicators file and I match the BB period to the candlestick time on the chart here. And by the way, if you don't already know, this chart is set up on tradingview.com. So if you want to use this chart, you can get a free account on TradingView, and you can do all your charting here just like I do. The Zencash, in the case of the Zencash chart here, the ticker symbol is in the upper left, and right next to it here is the candlestick time. So I have currently set in my indicators file a BB underscore period value of 900, which means my candlestick period is 15 minutes. So I set 15 minutes here up on this candle time menu. And then over here to the right, I see indicators. I click the indicators button, and then here at the main menu, you have this technical analysis. Right inside that, it's expandable. There is a built-ins option, so you click built-ins, and then on this first page over here, you have Bollinger Bands. So you click Bollinger Bands, and that plots it on the chart like this. Now, how do we set this up? Because when you click it, it's just going to go to default. All right. There is a little format button right next to the text up here defining the Bollinger Band line. And in the case of inputs, oh, by the way, this little format button, it looks like a gear. So in case you don't have a tooltip, just look for the gear there and click it. The first page here is inputs. You have length. This represents the BB SMA value that's in your indicators file. So whatever you set this to should match in your indicators file. If you want to see how your current strategy is going to look on the chart, match this value to what's in your indicators file. In the case of mine, I have mine set for a 20 candle simple moving average, so I put 20 here for my length. Do not touch the source or standard deviation. These will default to close and 2, and that's what ProfitTrailer uses to do the Bollinger Band calculation. Under style, you can set your line colors, thickness, whatever you want to do here. So I leave that, and that's all up to you. Now that we have it plotted, we can see that there's actually several different buy zones, buy possibilities here for Zencash. In the lower part of the Bollinger Band line, we got some sections here, another section here, some down here, and a possible high BB buy zone right here. As it's going up, if you missed out on the lower Bollinger Band buying, you can switch to high BB and move and catch it as it's going up. As you see in this backtest, the potential for it to go higher than where the upper part of the band is here was pretty good. So it's possible it could move in this again if that's the way you want to go. So that is the basic Bollinger Band. Now there is another indicator here on the TradingView charts that was created by Helmy of the PT Feeder team. This is showcasing, highlighting in green, the buy zones based on your strategy you set within your bot. If you copied your settings, if you go to Format here, and go to the Inputs, you select low BB, if that's what you have in your pairs file for your strategy, and your buy value, if it's set to 10, you set it here, or whatever your setting of your buy value is, you put it right here, and then your length from your indicators file, your BB SMA from your indicators file goes here. And of course under style you can edit all the line colors and stuff. I have my trigger line set to the yellow color here, and that represents the point at which the bot is going to meet before it goes below. This is the trigger line is your buy value, and you see how it moves with the line. So these highlighted green areas are the zones in which the bot is looking to try and make that buy. Now don't be fooled by the lower edge here. Just because it's highlighted in bright green in between your low BB line and your trigger line in this case, doesn't mean that's the only area in which the bot's going to buy. It just means it's going to buy at or below the yellow line I've got on here, okay? So, and if you wanted to switch it to high BB, you can again click that little gear button there, go to Inputs, go to high BB, and you can see how it alters it and shows you, okay, it's going to buy up here now at this yellow line or above. So that is a very, very useful tool for visualizing the strategy and how the bot is actually going to look to buy. So I hope this video has been highly educational for you and you have a good understanding of how the Bollinger Band strategies work, and hope that perhaps you can use this knowledge to your advantage. If you have any questions or are in need of further support, please visit the ProfitTrailer Wiki, and if it does not answer all of your questions, come on over to the ProfitTrailer official support server at the link displayed on your screen.